Are we alone in the universe? What mysteries we encounter without explanation can be life-changing. My name is Glenn Holbrook, and as an artist, I have reconstructed for the first time a UFO or paranormal experience I encountered in October 1969 just outside of Daytona, Florida. My girlfriend Kathy and I were driving around in my little Volkswagen at night just for fun. After several miles, I took a side road and then saw a broken chain iron fence half fallen down on the ground. I drove over it and saw a sign on the ground that read, "Government property, no trespassing." But to impress my date Kathy, I drove ahead anyway. To my amazement, as I kept driving, it turned out to be an old abandoned airport runway. Then, off to my side, I saw a grove of trees with an opening. Again, to impress my date, I decided to drive into it despite Kathy's objections. It became a tunnel of overhanging, spooky-looking trees I thought was amazing, but it seemed to scare Kathy. I kept driving for several minutes until I finally came to a clearing so I could turn around. Just as I turned the car around and moved forward, the headlights shined on an old, abandoned cemetery. Then, all of a sudden, the engine died. I kept trying to turn it on, but it just wouldn't start. As startling as that was to me, I heard Kathy's shaky voice shout, "What's that? Do you see it? Do you see it?" "See what?" I asked. "Describe it." "No," she answered. "I want you to tell me, so I'll know I'm not hallucinating." Then I did see something. I saw a small blue ball of light floating above the ground in the cemetery. It was moving around some tombstones, and at first I wanted to believe someone was pulling a prank with it tied to a fishing pole. But that little blue ball of light went under a fallen tombstone, came out the other side, and went straight up. Defying gravity and the wind, it moved slowly in the air without making a sound. That small blue orb of light began to fly toward us as it passed over the tops of the wrought iron fence. After it came within a few feet of us, it stopped in midair and stayed there motionless. Seconds seemed like minutes before I started to want to get out of the car to get a closer look at it. But then Kathy said something very strange, and in her own words she said, "I want to get out of the car, go into the cemetery, and talk to the dead." "What did you say?" I asked in astonishment. She repeated it. "I want to get out of the car, go into the cemetery, and talk to the dead." "Like hell you do," I responded. For the first time I felt afraid, but not for me, but for Kathy. I kept turning the car key to start that engine, hoping that the battery wouldn't die. Thank God it started. I backed up, turned the car around, and headed back towards that spooky tree tunnel. I could still see in the rearview mirror that little blue ball of light, staying there in midair, motionless. Neither one of us said anything for several minutes as we drove back. Then Kathy turned to me and said, "I'm never going to talk to you about any of this, ever, and I'm not ever going to tell any of my friends about it." I said nothing, felt very bad about my actions, but to tell you the truth, I couldn't talk about it to anybody else either for over 2 years. And now you know the story. Was that blue orb of light a UFO drone like other people have encountered? Or was it something to the paranormal, a spirit from beyond the grave, wanting to contact us. I may never know, but I do know that it was a life-changing experience. Before I end this true life story, let me add one last thing. I had another true life encounter in 2015, but this time with 2 UFOs at 2:30 in the morning in Mexico. But then I'll save that one for another story video. Thank you for watching and listening, and I hope you understand that I'm just trying to tell you the truth of what I experienced.